channel. This music so sad and um, she's a woman that was very for the recognized. He said yesterday, I think he said it now, 90s, he sang wonderful stuff like the bad, the bad, the best, the bad, to the private, that's it's one of song, you know, the one is very good, it's like, wow, it's like the song, you know, and it's, but that's what they do, also music, one, not jazz and singing, years ago, and that's because I went for, you know, all bike and so you don't necessarily listen to the story yourself. I would just like to share this with everyone. At this moment, my heart goes to the family. My blessings continue. My prayer that the Lord comfort you, just help you with this time. At this, you know, um, I feel lost. You know, I take God for you to go. So she knows how fun. It's been so thankful for her. And so I just want to share with you about my life. To listen to this.
We even think about what she was doing before this 80s kind of resurgence in the second chapter of her life. And thank goodness she did, because, you know, then we got the private dancer, Tina Turner, that's simply the best Tina Turner. That's the one that I was introduced to in the Ford Fiesta, and you know, the rest is history. And she went on to have an incredible amount of success as a solo entity, and she could call all of her own shots. She made herself over. She had a completely different look, a look that defined the 80s as well, and you know, reached a whole new crop of artists, and you know, was pure pop and soul and funk, and I mean, look at that hair.
The whole look is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, Eve Barlow, former deputy editor of NME, do appreciate your time this evening. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course, the tributes keep coming in for Tina Turner, who was died at the age of 83, the queen of rock and roll, and the White House, no less, have been speaking about Tina Turner and her passing.
And within the last hour, we learned that Tina Turner passed away. She was 83. I didn't, clearly a surprise to you. I didn't know if the White House had any heads up or if the president had any comment, but I'll give you time to
So, look, that is the first time I'm hearing that. That is incredibly sad news. Tina Turner was an icon, a music icon who had many stages and many amazing moments in her career. Very sad to hear the news. I was a huge fan of Tina Turner. As you can see from my reaction, that is the first that I'm hearing of it, and it is a massive loss to the communities that loved her, and certainly to the music industry. And her music will continue to live on. Very sad news. Our hearts go out to her family and her friends on their loss.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre there, paying tribute to Tina Turner, who was died at the age of 83. Let's bring in the DJ and radio personality, Tony Blackburn, who's joining us now live. Tony, really good to have you with us this evening. Thank you so much for your time. You would have played so many Tina Turner records in your career as well. Talk to us about the impact that she had on the music business.
Yeah, I mean, she was tremendous, absolutely tremendous. What I loved about her was that the energy that she put into it and the image and everything about her was interesting. And I think, I mean, I've always loved soul music, and that's what been my life. She is a bit sort of more on the rocky side for me, but she gave us some wonderful, wonderful soul classics like Private Dancer, one of my favorites of hers. And What's Love Got to Do with It? So she was able to sing these rock and roll songs, but also she was very tender as well. But I remember seeing her at the O2 a little while ago when she was actually, you know, quite old even then. But by God, the amount of energy she put into it, I was absolutely exhausted watching her. And she was just incredible. And so the amount of songs that she sold, the amount of records she sold over the years, absolutely tremendous. And I just found her so interesting, apart from anything else. She lived life to the full. That's what it was all about. And so when you heard her, it wasn't just hearing her songs and her performance, but it was just, you were looking at somebody who had lived life, and she sung from the heart. That's what I've always loved about, I call them my singers, the soul singers, because they sing totally from the heart. And she put everything into it, and she'll be very, very sadly missed. But luckily, she's given us so many great songs that we can go on playing on the radio.
Has 150 million albums sold and 12 Grammys earned. And Tony, you mentioned there that, you know, she was rocky. She used like some of the soul stuff as well. And it does strike me, as I've been talking to you guys as well, the experts on this, that it's kind of hard to genre define her where Tina Turner absolutely sits, right? Because she kind of spans some of it. She is very rocky. She's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but there's lots of soul in there too.
Well, yeah, that's what I love about her, actually. I mean, she was very much on the rocky side, and but at the same time, she sung from the heart, and that's what I loved about her. And even with some of the really raunchy rock songs that she did, I loved them. I absolutely adored them. But I just loved her performances as well. She was one of those singers that was quite unique. I mean, that hair she had, the short skirts, and the energy she put into it was absolutely tremendous. Because there are some people who go on stage and they're not that exciting to watch, but my God, she was exciting. She was really, really exciting to watch. You knew if you were going to go and see a Tina Turner concert, okay, you heard the great songs, but you heard the performances, you saw the performances, and she really put absolutely everything into it. The energy she had was just tremendous, and I loved her for that. She never went through a performance and you thought she's just going through it. She put everything into it. That's a real performer for you.
Yeah, exactly. And where do you think that energy comes from? Does it have something to do with the fact that, you know, from the Ike and Tina review and sort of getting out of that and the dip that her career had, and then having the resurgence, she's really appreciated the fact that what she was doing was a privilege, the fans were there for her, and she really wanted to put on a show for her fans every time she went on stage?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think she was one of those artists that really enjoyed going on stage. She enjoyed being in front of an audience, and that was where she really came to life. I mean, the songs that she sung, the records were great, and the energy she put into those. But I think she was one of those performers that loved touring. She did a lot of live shows, and I was privileged to see 2 or 3 of them. And every time that she went on that stage, you could tell that she loved being there. She loved the audience, she loved performing, and she really put everything into it. And that image, I mean, that's what we remember her for, the image, that massive hair that she had, the short skirts, and the energy she put into it. What a great mover she was. And not every artist is as exciting as that to watch. So the performances were great, the songs were great. She really was the queen of rock, and we'll really miss her. It's very sad.
Okay. Tony Blackburn, do appreciate your time this evening. Tony Blackburn there reflecting on the news that Tina Turner, the queen of rock and roll, has passed away at the age of 83. Her career began in the 60s, and the Ike and Tina Turner review spans the 80s and 90s with iconic hits like What's Love Got to Do With It, The Best, and We Don't Need Another Hero. Tina Turner passed away peacefully after a long illness at her home in Kuznets near Zurich, and she will be missed.